Je suis Elly Cheng. Je viens de Taiwan. And that's all I've got. I'll switch to English since now. So I'm the founder of Portal M. My talk today will be about the courage from the invisible side of fashion. So let's talk about what is the invisible side. I think that sounds a little bit tricky. So people know that for the fashion supply chain, there's a two end. One end is from the design and the market. The other end will be the production and manufacturing. So obviously, design closer to the market, closer to the consumers, that we can say there's a visible side. An invisible side that we're talking about is more like in production area, in manufacturing. So it's a little bit tricky that how two different departments are actually working on the same product and try to make it right through this long supply chain. And that creates some of the problem is that this invisible side is actually kind of conceptual or informational that isolated from the market. And what that comes out is that there's a few pain points created by this gap. Very first one is we're talking about the fragmented information that's barely and hardly to be understood or to be transferred through this long supply chain. And secondly is that we have to make massive samples to fill this conversation gap. So the third one is that we're actually missing our like amazing expertise or those like really technical talents. So as a part of in this manufacturing part, I think we cannot just sit and wait until people come to you and say, like, come on, I'm going to help you to solve the problems. So we're thinking that we need to kind of have someone to stand out and then finding out the support and the partners and bring out our problem and solutions together. And unfortunately, or I say luckily, this is why I'm here today. So I started my career actually in New York as a TD. I moved to sourcing side as a merchandiser in meals. So I know how the market and analyze the trend. And also I know how those like material was created and shipped. And after that few years, I actually moved to one of the biggest garment manufacturer in Taiwan is called Makalot. So we do have the owned factory over 9 countries that handling activewear, ready-to-wear, sleepwear, and swimwear. So I've learned all the like patterning and constructions, the simple yardage knowledge from that. And we figure out that in the end, digitalization is one of the solutions to solve those pain points that we're talking about. So now I'm as a like digital director of the digital concept creations, and then the GenAI. So that's also the reason why I think that Portal M needs to be created to provide the solutions. So for Portal M, that we actually provide 2 services. The first one is a digitalization for the garments and the fabrics. You'll say like, oh fine, I can fit in the physical, why I need the digital? Because all the massive samples we made and actually create the pollutions, not just the wasting of the waters or the material itself, and also the carbons that created through the transportations. So digital is one of the best solutions to solve these problems. But you might thinking that, all right, so you can make digital, but once you just scan it, how can you represent that garment exactly as a physical one? So we're actually having the technology to make the digital twins based on the patterns, based on the fabric fixed numbers, and then based on everything exactly the same as the physical, so that we call it as a digital twins. And that way, we can cut down some of the sample amount that's a visual samples. I'm not talking about cut down the fit samples. Fit still the most important things in fashion. But we can cut down some of the like probably not the necessary samples during that whole process. But if we only make one samples, it's kind of boring. It's just like a dot. So how about we make a collection in 3D? That means it's a line. And then once we put this collection into an environment by probably gaming engines, then we can create the virtual showroom, then can be put on to the VR for experience, or we can have it to put on the website as a front page for new way of exploring the merchandising. And then here, that we are actually looking for some partners that we can create kind of like ecosystems to have this kind of digital fashions to be kind of import into all different fields. For example, for gaming, or we are talking about making it into the films, or we can do the storytelling by the digital content. And secondly, we're talking about is GenAI. But before stepping into the AI things, I want to make something really, really super clear is that human still the most important during all the creations. Technology is only the thing that's help you to kind of doing the things faster or easier. It's a good helper, but they can't do anything. So each tool actually helps on a certain stage. For example, we're doing 3D based on the pattern, so that need times to do the patterns and executions. So it takes times. So what if there's a few moments that designers like, I'm not really want to know about the costing. How about just take a look how the sketch will be looks like just by taking a look. But you know, when they say taking a look, how much materials or times or expense have to be paid on that. So that's where GenAI can sit. They can just kind of let you feel about what that design will be look like at the very beginning. So we do have a product that's called Stytrix. It's a web-based AI solution a tool, so can help you to understand the design. So that's basically what Portal M is doing. The M means manufacturing. To the meta, that's a portal between the physical and virtual. And we are here is actually more would like to have integration from those like ethic narrative from France and combine with like reliability and flexibility from Taiwan so that we can create more intelligence or scalable process in the fashion supply chain. So we do have a little booth at that corner. If there's anyone interested in our product, we can just talk more. And hopefully you enjoy this speech. Merci beaucoup.